On the ground, working with NGO, non-governmental organization, activists, and government bureaucrats, health workers, and microlenders. This has taken us to the back alleys and villages where the poor live, asking questions, looking for data. This book would not have been written but for the kindness of the people we met there. We were always treated as guests, even though, more often than not, we had just walked in. Our questions were answered with patience, even when they made little sense. Many stories were shared with us. Back in our offices, remembering these stories and analyzing the data, we were both fascinated and confused, struggling to fit what we were hearing and seeing into the simple models that often Western or Western-trained professional development economists and policymakers have traditionally used to think about the lives of the poor. More often than not, the weight of the evidence forced us to reassess or even abandon the theories that we brought with us. But we tried not to do so before we understood exactly why they were failing and how to adapt them to better describe the world. This book comes out of that interchange. It represents our attempt to knit together a coherent story of how poor people live their lives. Our focus is on the world's poorest. The average poverty line in the 50 countries where most of the poor live is 16 Indian rupees per person per day. People who live on less than that are considered to be poor by the government of their own countries. At the current exchange rate, 16 rupees corresponds to 36 US cents. But because prices are lower in most developing countries, if the poor actually bought the things they do at U.S. prices, they would need to spend more, 99 cents. So, to imagine the lives of the poor, you have to imagine having to live in Miami or Modesto with 99 cents per day for almost all your everyday needs, excluding housing. It is not easy. In India, for example, the equivalent amount would buy you 15 smallish bananas or about 3 pounds of low-quality rice. Can one live on that? And yet, around the world in 2005, 865 million people, 13% of the world's population, did. What is striking is that even people who are that poor are just like the rest of us in almost every way. We have the same desires and weaknesses. The poor are no less rational than anyone else, quite the contrary. Precisely because they have so little, we often find them putting much careful thought into their choices. They have to be sophisticated economists just to survive. Yet our lives are as different as liquor and licorice, and this has a lot to do with aspects of our own lives that we take for granted and hardly think about. Living on 99 cents a day means you have limited access to information. Newspapers, television, and books all cost money, and so you often just don't know certain facts that the rest of the world takes as given, like, for example, that vaccines can stop your child from getting measles. It means living in a world whose institutions are not built for someone like you. Most of the poor do not have a salary, let alone a retirement plan that deducts automatically from it. It means making decisions about things that come with a lot of small print when you cannot even properly read the large print. What does someone who cannot read make of a health insurance product that doesn't cover a lot of unpronounceable diseases? It means going to vote when your entire experience of the political system is a lot of promises not delivered, and not having anywhere safe to keep your money, because what the bank manager can make from your little savings won't cover his cost of handling it, and so on. All this implies that making the most of their talent and securing their family's future take that much more skill, willpower, and commitment for the poor. And, conversely, the small costs, the small barriers, and the small mistakes that most of us do not think twice about loom large in their lives. It is not easy to escape from poverty, but a sense of possibility and a little bit of well-targeted help, a piece of information, a little nudge, can sometimes have surprisingly large effects. On the other hand, misplaced expectations, the lack of faith where it is needed, and seemingly minor hurdles can be devastating.